It is Tax Tip Tuesday, and we're going to put the winner of the Oklahoma Reader's Choice Awards for Best Taxation Attorney, Principal and Senior Attorney with the firm Travis W. Watkins on the spot. Are you ready to be on the spot?
Sure.
And ask him about 5 common payroll tax mistakes. And first off, let's explain to people what payroll taxes are, just in case they don't know.
Yeah, sure. So when you have employees, you have to, as a business owner, hold back some of their pay and pay it to the IRS as a tax. And when you don't do that, the IRS gets really, really nasty.
They do. I have a friend who got in very bad trouble for this, so I'm very familiar with this. And it all starts with perhaps not taking the IRS seriously.
Yeah, a lot of people think, well, maybe I can catch up with this, and let me just tell you that you can't. I mean, the IRS takes payroll problems very seriously. Probably that's the biggest thing that they do take serious when we're talking about IRS collection matters.
Okay, so you just can't mess around with it.
You can't mess around with it. You got to pay it, or they can come after the business owners personally. That's something that a lot of people don't know. They can come and start putting liens on you personally if you don't pay that payroll tax. They can start levying you.
Garnishing your wages.
Things, yeah, all those bad things that they could do to you if you owed personal tax.
Right, right. Now, what about improperly classifying employees? I find this interesting. So people do that and they'll find that, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think, well, you know, maybe I can classify them just as an independent contractor, maybe pay them some cash, you know, and the IRS has a lot of rules on this thing, and they take that one pretty seriously also. They'll come out and interview to make sure what they're looking at is how much are you controlling these workers? In other words, how much time they're supposed to be at work, what jobs they can and can't do. Do you provide them like equipment to do their job? Those types of things.
Or benefits or anything like that.
Yeah, things that look more like an employee, and therefore you have to withhold the taxes from their payroll. As opposed to an independent contractor, which you might just be able to pay cash.
Okay, that's interesting.
You bet.
Now, what about, so the payroll taxes, you've got this chunk of money here that you're supposed to be using for payroll taxes, but sometimes maybe you accidentally use it to, I don't know, pay your mortgage or buy something, or, you know, how does that doesn't go over very well, does it?
That's a huge problem also. They don't take very kindly to you either paying yourself that money that you should have been withholding from your employees, or paying other creditors. A lot of folks get into hard times with their business and they think, well, I got to keep the lights on, I got to pay other employees, maybe I just won't pay that payroll tax part of things, and maybe I'll catch up later, like we talked about, and that's a big no-no.
It's really complicated, so you really do need to be educated on this.
Yes.
I mean, as a business owner, and I think that's the whole purpose of why we're talking about this. We want people to be educated because, you know, you have to have the right systems in place, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are lots of things that you can do. We do payroll tax at our firm. We do paychecks for employers to make sure that this is happening. And if you have a system in place, you're more likely to keep that in place and not fall into these problems, and get some help on these things. They don't teach us about this stuff, you know, in really even in business school. So you've got to get yourself a good system, get a good lawyer, get a good accountant that can keep you up payroll period to payroll period.
Keep you out of trouble. Keep you out of trouble. And that's where you come in. Travis W. Watkins Tax Resolution and Accounting Firm. It's located at 3033 Northwest 63rd Street, Suite 2000E, or 200E, I should say. Their number 405-607-1192. Toll free, call them 800-721-7054, and you can find them online at traviswatkins.com.